We live.
That's right. It's another Saturday night with us two crazy Moors. Well, mantra time. No need to see me. Okay, the revelation of the divine spark. Um, Let me get the next one ready too. Okay, here we go. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers, of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form, as we are now willing commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now. Being and becoming the great primordial dragon god son, Kundalini flames. Now, whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amunel Dragra, our hidden priestly grandmaster Magi Dragon God Son King and Queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god son kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, willing all of the powers, all of the forces, all of the elements, all of the essences, all of the dark matter, dark energy, and ethers ruling the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavens into being and becoming all of our will's servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, coming down as the supernal energy and light that we need now to help us overcome and defeat all of the obstacles and adversities and problems in our way, dissolving all of our worries, lack, and fears into complete nothingness, now manifesting into our lives as all of the substance that we need to rebuild our lives into the proper order and law that we will command and desire, as we only affirm the positive abundance of the absolute all, as an eachness of oneness in the absolute all, manifesting into our lives as divine love, perfect health, vitality, and the abundance of prosperity in the absolute all, enriching our lives and the lives of all that is around us, while protecting us from the evil of human thoughts and deeds, neutralizing all of our enemies, bringing all out war, judgment, death, and total destruction upon the evil of the soulless counterfeits, robots, and the ignorant walking dead and their Lord and God, the demiurge, and the archonic forces enslaving and feeding off of the divine spark, the Kundalini race, and all of the entities and deities aligned against us, enslaving us into grotesque matter to be reborn, live, suffer, and die over and over and over until now. As it is our time to rise up to conscious unity, as they all fall, as all out war, judgment, death, and destruction is upon them all, as we all now will and commanded to be. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great no thingness of the almighty powers, of the great no thingness of almighty flow, the great no thingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, ashe. Crown chakra. Crown chakra day libations. Aim the nothingness, ashe. Aim soft, the infinite, ashe. Aim soft or the infinite light, ashe.
Ashe.
Adam Captain, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancient, the most ancient of days, I recamp in the big face, the primordial Christ. Ashe.
Ashe.
Absolute emanations, our supernal holy universe manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical names, the cosmic Christ. Ashe.
Ashe.
The great abyss of gnosis manifesting in us as our crown of Zeramp in the small face of the indwelling Christ, the black hole kingdom. Ashe. Berea, form, creation, and paradise manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical dark archangels and demons within us. Ashe. Yetzirah, formation manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical orders of dark angels and demons within us. Ashe. Ashia, the actual physical world in the making, the universe of action manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical earthly kingdom. Ashe. Yeshida.
Ashe.
Yeshida, the holy divine infinite magical spark manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical will. Ashe.
Ashe.
Heya, our holy divine infinite magical life force manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical desire. Ashe. Neshama, our holy divine infinite magical heavenly soul manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical thought. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ruach, our holy divine infinite magical soul manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical word spoken through us. Ashe.
Ashe.
Nephish, our holy divine infinite magical earthly soul manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Ashe.
Ashe.
Kether, the supernal crown. Ashe.
Ashe.
Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father. Ashe. Bana,
Ashe.
understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother. Ashe.
Ashe.
Da, the great abyss of gnosis. Ashe. Hased, mercy. Ashe. Gavora, judgment. Ashe. Tiferet, beauty. Ashe. Netzit, victory. Ashe. Had, glory. Ashe. Yesod, foundation. Ashe. Malkut, the kingdom. Ashe. The power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the primordial cosmic flower constantly blooming the absolute all into being. Ashe.
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 Empress Ashe.
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 Cyrus Ashe.
Ashe.
Tyler Ashe.
Ashe.
Order out of chaos beings. Ashe.
Ashe.
Beyond gods. Ashe.
Ashe.
All gods known and unknown. All goddesses known and unknown. Ashe.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to get on the holy rollers tonight?
Well, the thing about these people who are basically insecure in their own convictions, so they have to impose upon everybody else because they not even secure in their own convictions, man. This is what it is.
Yeah.
They so insecure about their so-called beliefs that they have to project on everybody else that they are the infallible God people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you can't question nothing they say because they're gonna always misinterpret the scripture and try to make it seem like, oh, that's God's word. So first of all, these are all assumptions that everyone has to agree with before the conversation can even go further.
Meaning,
I mean, they just always come as what they're saying is truthful. Like it's just a belief. I
yeah.
mean, just because you speak to me in a tone that appears to be confident about
Mm-hmm.
when you insecure about it, doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
you know how they be talking to us like we're wrong and they're right all the time. They're infallible.
Yeah. And if you don't believe the way they believe, and you don't believe in God,
They're going to condemn you. They're going to say you're going to hell. They're going to say all these different
or
uh,
worse yet,
damning,
let,
all these different damning things that's devilish in nature in itself, right? Why would you
mhm.
wish this upon someone just because they don't agree with your interpretations of these doctrines?
Or worse yet, they'll pray for you.
Don't pray for me. I'll be always telling people don't pray for me.
Yeah,
Please.
don't send me
Cause
those
that's a
angelic
ritual. That's a
messages.
motherfucking spell you sending at my way. No, I don't want it.
Yeah,
I don't
don't
want that
want
shit.
that. Keep
And
that.
another thing, well, how they be always trying to say, "Oh, he died for your sins." I'll be always telling them like, if he would have asked me first, I would have said, "Don't do that shit.
Hmm.
Don't do that,
You
nigga. Don't
should.
die
Man.
for my sins,
You
motherfucker. How dare you? How dare you die for mine?"
are gonna be disappointed. Die for your own sins. Die for your own sins, homie. But I'm the son of God.
So you say.
You must worship me because I'm the son of God.
And
Only way to the
automatically,
Father is through me.
right? Another thing they do is they try to say, "Oh, you worship the devil." Then when did I say that? Oh, just because I question and challenge your ideas that you're so insecure about that you can't even have them challenged.
Yeah, and if you do challenge, you have to be the devil.
These people are sick.
And because of that, I must pray for you.
Like you the one that need praying. Like no, you need some type of
You need an
mantra,
exorcism.
right? Because
Yeah, you need.
I'd rather do mantras than prayer. Fuck
Yeah,
prayer.
yeah.
Who you
Praying is
praying to?
for.
You praying to yourself basically. Who you praying to?
Yeah, you're begging to yourself. You're begging yourself for help. Please.
Lord have mercy on me.
Okay.
See, but they always reveal themselves, expose themselves basically by telling God what He gonna do in their life.
Hmm.
I mean, don't y'all see what y'all doing? When it's convenient for you, then you go to God. He said He gonna forgive me. How you gonna tell Him what the fuck He gonna do? Oh, the Scripture says He forgive all, but it also says show thyself approved,
Mm.
right? How you reconcile
Mm.
it? But what it is I just had a heated debate with a Christian recently this week, man.
Oh,
Heated.
oh,
It
that
got
can take
really
a lot of
heated.
energy out of you.
I noticed that with our people, if you don't agree with them, they are emotional. I mean, me personally, you don't have to agree with me. You don't
Mm-mm.
have to agree with me. I don't care. That's what the hell. You don't. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying
it
I
can
give
be.
you enough research. A lot of times I can back up what I'm saying. I give you research and reference. They don't want to follow up on it. Then they come back with the same conversation. I'm like, did you do any reference point? Did you do a follow up on the references? No.
No, they just read
Why would I
more.
study? Huh?
They just went home and read more Bible scriptures.
The Bible has to be put in its proper context and perspective, man. Y'all, the first thing I ask people who are Bible thumpers is, how did that book come about?
How many versions? How many versions of that book are there, and interpretations? And which interpretation are you getting?
Right. For real, because as many denominations within the same Christian bodies, within the same Christian religion.
Yeah, and anyway, a lot of people has broken that shit down to the Anunnaki. The gods in the Bible are the Anunnakis. Enlil and Enki.
Well, I go like this, man. All the gods in the pantheon are nothing but anthropomorphized aspects of energy that's inside of you.
Yes. Yeah. Melanin. They're all aspects of melanin.
That part.
Mm,
Really.
yeah.
Right.
Even the word, Bobby Hemming says Satan, even the word Satan means
Siton.
yeah.
Soot, soot, the soot. That means
So,
that dark essence, that
yeah,
soot. That's
the
what was
darkness.
at. You seen all that soot in the temples because they
Hmm.
were burning certain they was burning certain, and it all really boils down to um alchemy, man. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that chemistry, alchemy is the mother of chemistry,
Hmm.
right? And when you really break it all down, it's this interaction between the molecular world and this slowed down aspect of reality where we call 3-dimensional reality, right? We call it 3 dimensional, but
Third density. Third density.
third density. And what happens is to kind of reconcile these omnipresence. We because we are omnipresent, we simultaneously omnipresent because we exist in multi planes at once, multiple planes at once.
Hmm.
And that's what people. This is the key right there to hear. If we understand that we are multi-dimensional, multi-potentiality, multi-potent,
Hmm.
right?
Omnipotent.
I I'm using a new word called multi-potent.
Multipotent. Okay.
Yeah, omnipotent because omni is the same. It means multi. Omni means multi.
All right.
So omnipotent, and that has to be explained in the framework of modern Western science
Hmm.
for people to get it right. And
Yeah.
modern Western science breaks it down to quantum world, the quantum reality, and the physical sensory perception reality.
Well, a lot of physicists are having trouble with quantum physics.
They all they have is these theories, bro.
Hmm.
That's all they have is a gang of theories.
And
Because
plus, they believe that we're objective and subjective. I mean, we live in we're objective and subjective to the world, separate.
hold up, no, it's not separate. Let me look up them words right quick. Objective.
Here's
Hmm.
the definition of objective: of a person or their judgment, not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering and representing facts.
So objective is not feelings, it's facts, right?
Hmm.
Subjective.
Here's the definition of subjective: based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, or opinions.
Yeah, so subjective is anecdotic experience or your feelings that you developed over time. That's subjective. You feel it. Now, it's both. That's the perspective from which we come. The problem is we look at these things as opposites, and it is opposite from a third density perspective, but
Hmm.
from a multi dimensional understanding of the reality is both. right? We
Yeah.
transcend duality when we when we vibrate at higher states of existence. We transcend humanity. This is literally what's happening right now with the whole gender diaspora thing
Mm-hmm.
that's going on. Is
Oh,
because that's an energy that's affecting humanity right now. That's it's supposed to be an energy that's based in singularity, right? Man and woman were a being at one time that were one being.
they were androgynous.
Right.
Androgynous.
It was one being that was masculine and feminine. It was one being. It wasn't
Yeah.
the genders that we appear in human form. And
That
this is
was.
where this is being corrupted and perverted by the Western world, Hollywood, and all these people that are bringing up this agenda of switching nature of humans by catering to this sickness that most people say, "Oh, most people that these people are born women or men, but they think they're
Mm-hmm.
the opposite sex."
Mm-hmm.
They don't recognize that that's that energy that we're being influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
It's that androgynous being energy. It has nothing to do with sex,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is when you're dealing with put this is to just go with the energies that flow within you, the kundalini flame that flows the from the root to the crown, right?
From the root to the heart to the crown.
From the root to the heart to the crown, yeah, right. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I think it goes from the root back to from the root to the heart, back down to the
Root.
root, and then back to the crown, then to the crown, right?
Oh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it goes like that. So what happens when these energies of humanity itself is unaware of this going on inside of themselves, right? And there
Yeah.
these misinterpretations of what's going on with these energies that are culminating within humanity right now. This is like a latent energy, a latent DNA coming online, basically.
Mm. And everything in the Bible is most of it is inward. It's talking about what's going on inside.
Exactly. That's my whole point. That's what I was
It's
getting to.
not. Yeah. It's not talking about something out there.
Literal. It ain't nothing literal. Now,
Mm.
the thing about it is people take the Bible literally as a historic text, like this actually happened. And what you have to realize is there is a historic aspect of the Bible, but not in the context that
Yeah.
you're
It's not to be read as a history book.
it is not a history book at all. What do you mean?
No,
It's,
it's a pamphlet. It's a pamphlet of books.
yes,
It's not. Yeah, it's a pamphlet
it
of
is. Yes.
of of books, and they're not even complete. It's only they're just giving you like a quarter of the real story.
And to correct the story, King James did not write the Bible. He commissioned the the clergy. He
Hmm.
commissioned the clergy to actually arrange or decree. First of all, from the Nicene Creed, they actually made decisions in the Nicene Creed that culminated into the Bible, right? Because King James was of a mindset that was basically privy. He was privy to a certain amount of knowledge,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
This is where you see the Freemasons, and they basically have access to a certain amount, 333 thirds of the knowledge,
33. Yeah. They
right?
don't have 360.
They know it's impossible for them to have 300. It's genetically impossible. You can even go the blessed. If you even look up the word, the etymology of blessed has to do with the blood, right? So the
Oh.
blessed are the ones with the blood,
Mm-hmm. The
right?
melanin
So
blood.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. The blood is always symbolic to melanin. It's another when you say whenever they talk about the blood, they always talking about melanin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because melanin, blood basically is a conduit for the a conduit for the melanin.
Which means you have civilizations, extraterrestrial, microscopic civilizations living in your blood.
Yes, that part. That part. They
Mm-hmm.
even talked about it in
Star Wars.
The Ant-Man movie.
Oh, okay. And even in Star Wars,
Right.
on Episode 3, the Chloraminians
Right.
in
Right.
the
Right.
yeah, they were talking about melanin. But in Ant Man, I didn't see Ant Man, but it's
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
first and the second.
Venom.
Well, the second one is better because they go into a subatomic, a subatomic world.
Oh, shish. Okay.
And it was basically they went so deep, they went so small and molecular that it was they were trying to figure out how the fuck they were gonna get back to this microcosm,
Mm-hmm.
microcosm. They were though so far on the macrocosm, bro. Crazy.
Which means that this universe could just be a microscopic point on a pen.
Right, compared to what is what overtone vibration is above this one. Because
Yep.
all we're experiencing is vibration.
Mm-hmm.
We're experiencing levels of vibration based on collective consciousness,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
that human consciousness, the human consciousness and the collective consciousness, which every individual makes up the collective consciousness, they're all
Yeah.
going through a certain revelation right now.
Mm-hmm.
That everyone is going through it. No one is exempt.
Every, yeah. Everyone is going through it.
And go ahead.
And some people, a lot of people right now are in a bad place mentally.
Right. Because
And
they're trying to view it from the perspective of how they've been indoctrinated, bro. And that's the thing. You would have to erase everything you was taught.
hmm
And
and right now it's almost too late for some of them to do that.
oh, of course. I'm just saying, I'm just saying those who are literally genuine about
hmm
discovery of self and revelation, you have to be mindful of the fact that you have to be really mindful of the fact that you have to master yourself.
And which means you have to recreate yourself.
Right.
You have to tear down and rebuild over and over.
You understand how people have afraid. A lot of what we speak is literally creating the like people say they set in their ways,
Yeah,
right?
rigid.
Literally rigid, yeah. Literally, you can set your profile on the way you behave. You can set it. It's like you set your phone.
Yeah,
So if you can set it, why in the hell are you set in the way that you? So you comfortable with the setting that you have? It's just like my phone. I'm comfortable with the setting, or it's I don't feel like going through the settings and going through it. I just stick with the settings.
yeah. I just stick
I'll
with
just
this.
stick with the
So,
setting that's already programmed in.
yeah,
That's
not
what
gonna
people are
try.
doing.
Because we're scared to step out of that box and step into the unknown. Oh, that's to most people. That is so scary, so frightening. The unknown,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
not in control. You don't. You lose. You give up all control, and that is hard for a lot of people to do. To give up control,
All
not
that
that
is
they were controlling in the first place.
all that is adoption of Western world sentiments, Western world ideas of the world, Western all that, because they insecure about the world. We were always solidified in this, man. We were always secure in what the universe, the nature of the nature of the cosmos. We knew.
Yeah,
We were never
we were
gonna,
ready
we were
to
never
die.
go ahead.
We were ready to die any day. I mean, we weren't afraid of death.
Right, right.
We
When
had a whole
you think
different
about
view.
it, it's like it's silly to even be afraid of death. That's like kind of silly. Like, meaning what you are telling me when you are afraid of death is you believe in the illusion.
Your heart is heavier than the feather.
Heavier, yes.
Hmm.
Your heart is
If
heavier than
you're
the
afraid
feather.
of death, your heart is heavier than the feather.
Right, right. And the thing about it is, this is a spell that has been. This is a ritual that of someone else's creation.
Yeah, it's not yours.
It's not yours.
Although
That's the main idea.
we
Like we can we
say
can
that.
will we can will our reality into what we. As a matter of fact, the word will, right? Will. That's
Yeah.
that's future tense. So when you speak, it will be this. It will be that.
Hmm.
You are creating that future.
Yeah.
If
And
you doubt, if you look, you can have doubts about it, right? Based on the insecurities, right? And
hmm
sometimes you will be speaking a doubtful, insecure way, and that's the outcome you're going to get. That's the outcome most people get, right? But if you will it, it will be this. It will be that. It will once you speak it and affirm it, it is yours already.
yes, if
It's
you
on top of that, you is the verbal utterance and the visual thing. This is
in the
why
heart.
when they talked about in this, they talked about this in the law of attraction, or no, it wasn't the law of attraction. It was something else I was looking at. They said anything you want to accomplish, anything like if you wanted a vehicle, they got the vision board concept where you put it up a picture of that car that you want, or you put up uh, anything, a house that you want, you put a picture of it up. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
you focus on it to the extent where you solidify it in your future.
I'll take it a step further. You learn how to meditate and using your kundalini, bringing it up from the root to the heart, all the way to the crown. And once you hit the crown, you open up the vortex, the black dot, and you start moving time and space until you get to that point in time and space where everything, the thing that you want is right there. You're there. You moved the time between you, the time and space between you and that object. You moved it
Right,
closer.
right.
Hmm.
Because that's another function of of your pineal gland or your first eye.
Yeah.
One of them is a warp drive machine, meaning it can warp you.
Yes.
It can
You
it can fold
work.
space time. It can fold
Yeah.
space time. And what is if you can visualize yourself in a future scenario, right? Is it
Now.
because it look, people are looking at it as I'm not presently in that state, but you are there visually.
Not only that, the multi.
And guess what? Guess what? Let me finish. Let me say this right quick. You there visually, and it's more relevant visual. Go ahead, my bad.
You remember the multi universe where string theory, you have all these different realities. There is a reality out there already where the thing that you want already exists.
Well,
You're just pulling that reality
right,
into this
right,
reality.
right, right, right.
It already exists now.
It's waiting for your cues to create itself.
Yeah, because it's already there now. So
Right.
you can.
Well,
That's why they
look, look,
say,
look, 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 look. You saying it's already there. This is what I say. the
Mm-hmm.
potential, the potential.
Yes.
I mean the substance, the substanceless substance is there already. The
Yeah.
potential,
Potential.
right? That's
Yeah.
why I came up with the multi-potential reality instead of the multi-dimensional reality, because
Mhm.
there are potentials that are
Mhm.
being cultivated. If you are cultivating negative potentials too, along
Mhm.
with positive potentials.
Or you're just in the neutral zone.
Yes. In the neutral, basically
Mhm.
the universe kind of takes over,
Yeah.
right? You in autopilot, basically.
Autopilot.
And that's where a lot of people are at. They in autopilot. They just allowing the force to flow wherever it
Mhm.
flows, and they're not even taking control of their energy, recognizing that all that the trauma and the experience we have here as human plays a part in that development, spiritual development, right?
Mhm.
To the point where you realize, oh, damn, this is all happening in the interest of me evolving to ascended transitional period of my
Enlightenment.
existence. Of yes,
Enlightenment.
right,
True self enlightenment.
right.
Yeah.
So we we are we're basically wasting our own energy.
Because we lock ourselves up in all these invisible prisons and locks and chains.
Right.
We wear them. We put them on and walk around in them and wear them like suits.
I have to check my thoughts all the time, bro. When all of these corrupted ideas come in, and I have to
Hmm.
address it, and I have to. And it is really not. It's really not damning those ideas. It's really not. Oh, get I for what you know.
Get
I
behind me, Satan.
get thee behind me. It is get thee behind me, but in the sense of recognizing its place, that energy recognizing its place, and you stepping into the to the position of being that our higher being. It's a
Or
responsibility. You have to make that decision, and most people are really making the decision to be the subordinate. They're making the decision to be up under another higher being that's on the evolutionary stage.
yeah, they choose to remain human.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So, and it is your choice. We're not trying to convince you to not to fall into your sensationalism and all that stuff. It's fine. Do you?
Yeah.
Because
But
at the
at the same token, this thing, whatever it is, reality or the multi potential universe, is like a ball of clay, and you can just let it remain a ball of clay, or you can sculpt that ball of clay into a masterpiece.
wow, you just gave me another idea. That's another aspect or attribute of who our spirit, our higher divine spirit is a art the is a
That's-
basically an artist of
yeah,
reality,
creator.
artist
Yeah.
of reality. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, we're co-creators in this reality. We're all co-creators, and the substance that we're using to create is thought, mind,
Wow. In spirit,
spirit.
it's
Hmm.
art and spirit.
And the
Because
dark side.
you
The
know what
dark.
spirit is. You know what spirit is. Spirit is like how you can get the most strongest being in someone who's small, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because they not physically, they're not physically look. They don't physically look it, but they have a spirit in them that's like way more powerful than any other. That's how Bruce Lee was.
Yeah.
He's
Uh,
frail as fuck,
hmm.
but he was whooping motherfuckers' ass.
Yeah. He
'Cause
developed
that's the spirit in him,
that spirit. Yeah, it was unbeatable, untouchable.
right?
Hmm.
and you can reach anybody can reach these levels of Zen. It's called Zen.
Yeah, Zen. Shit, I felt that. Like I was in Zen this week. I was in Zen. I was in a state of Zen this week.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful.
Another word for it is called Zen, and what's the other word for it? I'm in the zone. When you
Yeah.
in the zone,
When you're in the zone, you can't do no wrong when you're in the zone.
right?
Yeah.
That's when you have a level of accuracy from multi the multi potential perspective of
Mm-hmm.
who you are. You have this keenness about yourself that is
Awareness, a kink
yeah
sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, and it's beautiful when you have that. It's beautiful to experience that. It's
yes
beautiful. Not everyone have the privilege of being able to experience that in their lives
right. I think
because it's taken.
I
It's
think I think you know how a lot of people take ayahuasca.
uh-huh.
I think all they're doing is trying to experience what we experience all the time as being in tune melanin. Like I said, in tune, because a lot of people have rendered their melanin ineffective in their bodies.
Yeah, they deact. It's dormant.
Yes,
Yeah, it's just lying dormant
right. It's
under
still
the ocean.
the potential to access this is still there though.
Yeah, and there could be certain things that can happen in the environment that can trigger that to come online.
Yes,
Trauma, trauma, like Bobby Hemmett said, they were doing studies in India on Kundalini, and they found out that there are these devices inside of the human body that once as a whole, if humanity or certain beings are faced with certain death, these devices come online and it changes everything.
right,
Yeah, we have devices inside of us. If they come online, we can flatten the entire planet.
right. You know that's all they talking about all that on the Avengers right now with
Mm-hmm.
the Terrigen saga.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch that too because they talked about how these these alien these aliens came and created human with a certain DNA or whatever, and it had a latent DNA and it's coming online, and they turn it into superheroes and everything. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They go
Yeah.
into like, but basically they actually literally go through some type of more metamorphosis where they come in, they have to go into a cocoon for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of minutes, and then when they come out of the cocoon, they have superpowers.
Yeah, that's how nature is. And for something like that to occur, it has to be dormant for a long time, cooking inside of its cocoon, the cooking pot.
Well,
Bobby Hemmett.
there's the above so below aspect of how these energies come. I mean, what they call what's the word? Reconcile, right? When you
Hmm.
get to there, it appears to be on one level of vibrational level friction. There seems to be friction. When you get the perspective of where we're seeing it from our human evolutionary stage right now, it it like I heard it was something that Valentine said about was it Phil or Blair, Deborah Blair, were one of the great scholars, brother, in the community,
Hmm.
talked about how the sun is not necessarily hot. The what we're experiencing as heat is when that energy reaches us, when that solar ray energy reaches us. The
Yeah, when it comes into the atmosphere.
yeah, it's a friction there that makes it reach us as a feeling or energy of heat, right?
A vibration.
A vibration of heat, right?
Yeah.
And when I think about that, I'm like, oh, these are the stages that we go through when the stages of matter literally fluctuates, right? Remember I talked about how Pangea didn't happen in millions of years.
Hmm.
That only happened in million years based on the state we was in at that time, right? But in other states we was in, that shit happened instantaneously, and that's part of a whole nother multi-potential reality that we created hundreds of thousands. There's no time to even to comprehend. This is the whole thing. Everything that we try to grasp concepts in the Western world can't be done in with this science. Can't grasp it in the same manner that we try to grasp it in this reality, and this indoctrinated in the way we approach how we view and observe reality and the nature of reality. You can't look at it that way.
Because we didn't start out this way. We had higher senses that became dormant, and that and now these lower senses took over. But we fell from something higher. So when we were communicating, I think we were communicating um, languages. I believe we had languages that were psychopathic,
Mm.
and that's where the hieroglyphs come in. The hieroglyphs, I believe, might be a
Okay,
psychopathic.
explain that a little bit. You said languages that were psychopathic.
Yeah.
Okay, explain that a little bit.
In other words, they didn't look. Um, they weren't in characters like these words right here. They were symbols. Well, these are symbols too,
Yeah,
but
they are.
mhm.
Right. But
but
listen, this is why. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I don't want to cut your wisdom.
but we were probably able to create geometric symbols in our mind and teleport them into other people's mind, and we had an agreement that these symbols meant this.
Have you ever heard a concept called? Have you ever heard of a concept called? Damn. I'm just gonna come to me in a minute, but I. Excuse me, y'all. Um, it's called ling frank lingua franca.
Hmm.
What's a lingua franca?
I remember you mentioning that before. English is sort of like an lingua franca, isn't it?
Yes, it is
Hmm.
because it is incorporating symbolism that's familiar, universal, right? So they were
Hmm.
literally able to communicate universally using certain symbols that they incorporated into the English language. Mind you, I watched a whole documentary about the development of the English language, and the English language is nothing but a, a hybrid of Latin,
Hmm.
and there's another one. I can't think of it. Latin and other language that basically um, co-opted to create what we call English today.
Hmm.
And why it was able to be a lingua franca because of that, because they took ancient symbolism and um, inverted into their language. This was a development over years of that how they did it. Basically, they stole it from the ancient world. So
Mm-hmm.
it has so many universal symbols in it that was able to be communicated when people would do trading in the ancient world and things of that nature.
Commerce. Yeah.
Commerce. It's a commercial language, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commercial language.
A commercial language. Yeah.
Yes. English is a commercial language,
Yeah.
meaning you do business in this language. Mind you,
Yeah.
and what I promised myself is I'm going to learn Arabic and I'm going to learn Latin
Mm.
because the Latin will give you so much. Languages broaden your perspective on well, it gives you a higher definition of human culture, human language. I mean, human development. Once you learn other languages, you broaden yourself. Period.
Yeah. Yes.
So, because Latin itself is one of the most not. I'm talking about classical Latin, not vulgar Latin.
Vocal.
Yeah,
Now that
vulgar
is
Latin.
more of a legal. It's used in legal
Yeah,
uh,
classical Latin is basically the actual all the legal words, all the what they call legalese. They use
legalese.
all
Okay.
those words. All those words are well, lingua franca probably was a French word, but French is another language that incorporates Latin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you see the close relationship with Spain. I would suggest people do a good. I'm about to put together. I'm putting together it. I will put together a lecture giving a lot more insight on the development of Europe and how there was no development of Europe without the Moors. Period.
Yeah.
There is no development of Europe without the Moors. Period. At all. Nothing.
There's, yeah, Europe was a sad place before the Moors.
Right. Well, you got to realize that even what we're referring to, we have to understand and get a perspective of history with an understanding of who so-called melanated people are on this planet. We are a global phenomenon. We are before any country on the planet even existed. So
Yeah, but they're not going to tell that history. The people that run the planet right now, they are not going to tell history from that narrative.
no, they can't because they will give in to the fact that we are the heirs of the land.
Hmm.
Well,
So
go
it,
ahead.
then history on this planet is illegal. True history is illegal.
Uh, uh, imposing imposing your perspective of history on the people who you've conquered, I would
Yeah,
deem that as illegal.
yeah, that yes, that too. But as the people who are imposing their history on us, if for us to counter that with true history, they for them they would say that's illegal. You can't do that
Right, 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 right. Well,
because we says this way because that will turn the tides and take them out. So I mean everyone would know.
you agree with epigenetics, right? Which
Hmm.
is the um, the study of heretical traits, right? Also, a genetic memory,
Hmm.
right? And that everyone has, right?
Yes.
We have a genetic memory, right? And in
Yeah.
that genetic memory, we have all of our ancestors' memories in that genetic memory. So
Yeah.
we are more, we are more, we are more fit to. give others their history and opposed to them giving us our history. When they give us the history, that's a form of the conquering of these vast seafaring global people. It was a global community, and that's the thing that people don't understand. It was a global community. It wasn't necessarily broken down into borders as it is today. There was demarcation lines to divide one inheritance from another inheritance, right? But the ancient world was more simplified in the sense of it was like in feudalism, basically what they refer to as feudalism. Um, it was more principled, right? Everything was based in principle, right? It was based in we were things that were basically sacred, stay sacred, right? And that's the thing. We strayed from that, and we thought we look at that because this is a period of time we supposed to. The prophecy had already spoke of this, right? And I'm not necessarily referring to Bible prophecies. I'm talking about prophecies that have already been ancient world prophecies that already prophesied. That's going more into what you were talking about, the multi-potential realities. We've seen these realities because we were shaping them. We was either, like you said, we was either uh, creating them or in neutral. Would you say you either creating them or you in neutral or you what was that phrase you was talking about how
Yeah. It's like you're either in control. You're creating the masterpiece, or you just you're stuck in neutral. You're not going forward or backwards. You're not trying to.
see in the ancient world we was on the driver's seat of that because it's gonna
Mhm.
happen anyway. You're gonna create your reality anyway, y'all.
Yeah,
You're
you
gonna create
are.
it anyway, so you might as well get involved, be an active participant in creating it in the interest of where you ever evolving to.
Or someone's going to program it for you.
They already doing that too. They
Yeah,
already
they're
doing
doing
that.
that
You
to
are,
all of us.
huh?
They're doing that to all of us.
Right. And it's like it's voluntary slavery. It's voluntary slavery because they're not doing nothing but suggesting, and you just influenced by their worldview so much that you just follow along with them. That's all I see with our people. We want to retain an inferiority complex because it appears to be easier. No,
Yeah,
no.
the
Take
easy.
look. We need to take full soul responsibility for ourselves. Meaning, food, shelter, clothing. We have to provide it for ourselves. We can't depend on nobody else to provide none of those things for us because it's always going to come with a price.
Yeah, but first we have to set up our government so we can function,
That
do that
God, that's what I'm. You're right.
within
Exactly.
our own jurisdiction. Because then, even if we're focusing on those things, we're still doing it in their jurisdiction.
You can't grow under subjugation.
Right?
There is no upmo mobility in subjugation. There is none.
None, none, none,
Because
none. You can have privileges.
right, that's about
you
it.
can have, yeah, you can have some privileges.
And that's why we're in the condition that we are as a people because everybody is crabbing a barrel for those privileges. They like, oh, I'm gonna get the privileges, and I'm gonna push another nigga down so I can get it because that's how you get the privileges.
Hmm.
You don't you have to behave in a certain way to continue to get the privileges. One of the ways you have to behave is self-loathing. You can't have any unity or what they call that shit. What they call it cohesiveness with your people. You can't
Yeah.
have that, and you have to be hyper. You have to be fully amalgamated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to be fully amalgamated, meaning under the illusion of inclusion. I was hearing brothers on the bus talking today, saying the same thing. You checked me on, and I checked you on. Oh, well, we going over there to talking about us being associated with America and shit. No, that's not us.
No.
These motherfuckers
We
enslaved our ancestors, man.
in the U.S. is not us.
No, it's
It's
not.
spelled us, but it's not us.
They benefited. They've benefited 10 times more than we benefited off of integration, bro.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
benefited major. That's why they keep on trying to keep us in the confounds of the thinking pattern or the indoctrination
I
that
have
they
a dream,
presented to us.
and it's triggered through I have a dream.
And no one wants to do the in-depth research on how King regretted all that shit, that period, that episode. But they want to keep presenting that like that's a ritual on y'all. Y'all don't realize they doing rituals on y'all.
Yeah, it did not take us out of subjugation. I had a dream was not us being our own people and separate from their segregation, subjugation, and in our own jurisdiction. We were sort of already in our own jurisdiction.
The I have a dream wasn't an admission of the United States having no sovereignty except through secession treaties that was given to them by their political mother, Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest about this. Trying to stop posing because they've never even they've never even said they were sovereigns here, right? They
No,
never said
they,
that, but they always postured themselves as it.
yeah,
Meaning
what they
they're
call it.
stepping in, they're basically trading places as long as the sovereigns don't speak. Right? I'm gonna say I'm the sovereign. I'm not gonna say I'm the sovereign because they never literally say. You will hear all of these so-called fucking European listen, pay attention to what the white supremacists are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This our country, right? This our
Mm-hmm.
country. Meaning what they're saying is we conquered this motherfucker. We're still maintaining that conquest.
Yeah,
That's all they're saying.
yeah,
We conquered this shit. It's still that's all the United States is saying, basically. Because all the United States is as an entity operating over here on our land is a continuation of colonization by European powers.
yeah,
That's all it is.
yeah. In international law, what they call it, territorial sovereignty.
Territorial sovereignty, right?
They got
It's
territorial.
look, you get it correct. It's territorial sovereignty based on discovery doctrine, and you got to realize the discovery doctrine is international law that says that if the people are asleep on who they are, don't know who they don't recognize there, and they're not making the claim on the international level. They're not
Mm-hmm.
making the we're not making the claim through our national government that this is our land and all that. If they're not making the claim as a collective, then we can continue to operate under the discovery doctrine here.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And Abdullah been sending me a lot of videos on that. I mean, a lot. I mean,
So as a result, they have to be actively keeping that divide up, man. They put so much sub division amongst us, bro. It's
mhm.
crazy because we are broken up into so many sub groups, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? Hold up. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, um, y- there you have it. I mean, it's in the ball is in our corner, and we just need to know more. Just need more education. I mean, it's there. It's there. Um, all the tools are there now. You know, the Moroccan Post, YouTube, media, they're there. Abdullah, he's dropping all the information that we need to help us get ourselves out of this situation. And it doesn't matter if how much money you have, you're still in subjugation. I mean, it's great to have that, but you don't forget you're still in subjugation. You're still you s-
We're
you don't
we're
have
still
control of
politically we're still politically not active in the supreme law that protects over us.
that. Right. Yes.
Right? We're not active in it. We're not claiming it. We're not activating it through our activities. Because how do we activate it? We create these body politics. Look, it's so freaking simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to agree on ideologies. We don't have to
No.
agree on religions. We don't have to agree on nothing more than how the collective political interests we're going to address.
Mm-hmm.
Once we realize how we're going to address our collective political interests, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
do. First, we gotta recognize that and convince people that goddamn, we have a collective political interest. Why do you
Yeah.
think that's one of the benefits of integration for these different European nations operating over here is that they were able to mobilize us and indoctrinate us into becoming voter blocks for them because that's another aspect of international law. When you are a state, you have to have a legitimate voting population.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you vote, you retarded ass. Every time you vote, basically you're saying, I support the European powers continuing
So
colonization on our ancestral lands.
yeah, I support our subjugation.
I support our subjugation.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing when you vote.
Yeah.
Well, and we can back up what we're saying. We're not just saying stuff that's based in feelings and how we feel. No, we can back up what we're saying based on doing research on how did the United States literally come about? How did the structure of what we call the United States today was given power to even exist over here? Where did that come from?
Where did that come? The Declaration of Independence
No,
of
before
1776.
then, there was something that allowed them to even
The
have
Articles of
that mind,
Confederation.
right? And it's not the Declaration of Independence because that right there has that story that they told us about that has very much holes in it too.
Yeah,
But
before that, it was the Articles of Confederation, right? Articles of Federation wasn't they were under the Article of Confederation?
right, the European nations were operating under that at one time too.
Yeah.
So, but all of it is just a matter of them continuing to operate on our land under occupation, brother. That's it. They occupy
Mm-hmm.
our land, man, and they just find ways, pass legislation, write their contracts or their treaties and their constitutions. They're writing these things in that nature, right? Under
Mm-hmm.
international law of discovery,
Mm.
doctrine of discovery.
So that's the application of law they're using.
Right. So also you have to go further than that because it goes back to was it go back to the Spanish not Spanish but the Pope basically the Pope decreeing the people of this land as ungodly, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Intercatera divina.
Inter-
In,
okay.
in, Intercatera divina.
Intercatera Cabina.
Yes, right. Which was a divine. It was supposed to be because the Europe, the seer of the European powers, right? The seer
The Pope.
of the
The
European
Pope.
power is the Pope. He's the
Mm-hmm.
seer, right?
He's the yeah.
So he decreed the people over here as being godless. This was the justification of the discovery doctrine.
Mm.
So,
And what were they basing that on?
what that was it was religious in nature. It was the clergy. I don't know. I don't know what they. I guess they tried to give a twisted interpretation of the scripture to make it fit.
Mm-hmm. They did some what they call it, ungazi fungazi.
Oh God, yeah. Right? Tricknology, basically. It's tricknology,
Technology.
right?
Fungazi, fungazi.
One of their greatest tricknology was constructive language.
Yeah,
It's called
they got
constructive
us with
language.
that.
They call it constructive language. They call it
Mhm.
paper terrorism. They call it constructive language, paper terrorism. And there was another one, linguistic genocide,
Yeah, linguistic. Uh-huh.
meaning
Linguistic.
you can write people out of existence. You can write people out of their original
Birth.
status.
Yeah, which is what they done to us.
Yes, they wrote us out like they put us under the status of black, which
Mm-hmm.
was a continuation of what Spain was subjecting us to.
Mm-hmm.
They just continue because Negro just
Yeah.
mean black,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
gotta, huh?
First we were under the subjugation of the Europeans, not America, but first the Europeans, and then they gave America territorial sovereignty through
Secession treaties.
secession treaties, and then America decided to continue on with the same policy that the Europeans were using.
Well, they are a continuation of European powers. America is a continuation of European powers occupying ancestral land. It ain't like they're independent from the European powers. No, they've never been independent from the European powers.
Uh, they're one of the same.
Right? They've postured themselves as being, oh, we're the independent. They want to. No, they never did because they had it. They had to concede to certain. If they won, right? If they
Mhm.
won the Revolutionary War and they won their independence, why did the Pope, or why did not the Pope, but His Majesty, the Majesty, great of the what they call him, His Majesty,
King
uh
George.
the huh?
King George.
No. I don't know if it was
Oh,
King George at the time ruling in Britain, but
oh.
in the Treaty of Paris, 1783, if I'm not mistaken, the Treaty of Paris, 1783.
Mm-hmm.
The first Article 1, it talks about how His Botanical Majesty recognized not the United States, because the United States didn't exist at the time. It said it
Mm-hmm.
recognized the the
13
colony,
colony.
the colonies as independent states.
Mm-hmm.
So the authority is with the colonies, the 13 colonies. They
Mm-hmm.
have the actual power that Congress is willing right now. It doesn't.
Mm.
The United States doesn't have it.
Okay.
The 17 colonies
13.
have New York
13.
State, Philadelphia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, um, Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have the power that they're operating under that was given to them by the sovereign of Britain.
Okay, but wasn't that King George?
Huh?
Wasn't that King
It
George?
may have been. It
Yeah.
in the in
From
the
the Treaty of Paris. Yeah.
in the language of the treaty, it says His Botanical Majesty. So
Mm-hmm.
whoever was ruling at that time, so it was like 1783.
Yeah.
Whoever was
Yeah.
ruling at the time.
I think that was King George.
Right.
There's so
So
much to know. There's so much to know.
but yeah, I gotta go, bro. So get your
Okay,
last
man.
man.
Oh, well, last thought. Oh, baby. Get ready for to rumble next week. Shit, it's going down. Stock market's crashing. No, man, people better learn how to find ways to make their money work harder for them than they can work for it. Better learn how to be a money pimp and make your money a whore and get it going out there tricking for you in Wall Street. Because if not, I don't know, shit's coming apart. I mean, you might have a job today, but you might not have one tomorrow. Things are, man, it's getting crazy. They're really tearing down the house so they can rebuild it up again. I see what they're doing, but I think what they're really doing is trying to clean the shit up and get it ready for its rightful owners, us.
Can I say something right quick? I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I
Sure.
think you should always view what they're doing from the perspective of what we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, it's frivolous. Go ahead.
Well, so um, you know, it's going to be real exciting next week. This week coming up. Um, God knows what's going to happen after this. I mean, get ready for anything. And we're having all these solar flares. You see that big ass hole that opened up in the sun last week?
Yeah, that's not the first time that happened.
But this one was very huge. And then soon after that, it was we were getting earthquakes left and right, left and right. 7.0s here, 6.0 here, 7.1 here. And that's just the beginning. And after that, you had stock market crash and all the energy hitting the planet at the same time. It's
Now,
um,
now, now, translate that what you just said to what's going on inside of us.
what's going on inside of us is
Based
that
on what you said.
we're having the soul is going through a major burst of energy. We're there's a lot of energy that's coming online inside of us and it's being reflected out there as solar flares,
Right.
corona mass ejections, corona holes in the sun.
Right.
I mean, what's the sun name? Soul. So it's probably a replica of what's going on inside of us. Something is coming online inside of us. And as it comes online, we're going to be able to manipulate the elements down here. We're going to be, I'm doing rituals now for that to come in to just wake up all these dormant energies that been asleep for a long time, and it's time for them to come online. And with what's going on with the sun and all this, the energy hitting the earth, no telling what's about to wake up inside of us. And as it does, that's going to be a game changer.
Okay.
So,
Well,
mhm.
my last word is the power that is culminating. It's at an apex at this moment. The energy, the potentiality, all of that is a great a great canvas, right, for those who have transcended humanity already. I've already transcended humanity, so
Okay.
whatever happens to humanity means nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I always view myself from that perspective, in opposed to, oh, I'm a human and all this stuff, and oh, whoa, where's all the humanity? I've been, I've been gotten off of that right there, because
Oh yeah.
I recognize the actual reality beyond what we can even conceive of the reality, because what we're referring to as the reality is actually a construct of the mind. Most of what we're experiencing is a construct of your mind, and you
Yeah.
have to be mindful of this. If you're not,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to trap yourself in your reality. You trapping yourself now. You're doing it now. You are the antagonist in your damn story. You are the hero. You are the background. You are all of these things at one time.
Yeah. Yep.
And
You're the director, the actor, the cameraman, the 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 damn set,
right.
and the writer.
Yeah, you are the matter that's around you that you're using to create. Because look, really, this is be real. All matter is supposed to do is be like a medium for us to create stuff in the spirit world to invoke things from the spirit realm. That's
Mm-hmm.
all matter is supposed to do. Right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be using this as a medium for to invoke things from the spirit world to
Mm-hmm.
either come there or for us to realize a ritual or go through ritual to transcend to these other higher realms. People doing it through their religious practices, but they've
Mm-hmm.
they've lost sight of the original intent, right?
Okay.
You will see people who are Asian, they have the Buddha
Mm-hmm.
and they have the Buddha. They put money in the Buddha. Do you recognize what you're doing? You're engaging in a quantum physical reality experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're literally bringing forth a whole world of energy to this world through that Buddha statue.
Yeah. But what is money though? Currency. And what is
Money
currency?
is a
Yeah.
form of that too. Yes, everything that we use as a medium between a flow of energy, because everything we're doing is based in that flow,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything we're doing as it pertains to the animated aspects of our reality is the flow. It's based in the flow. It's the what you call it in the computer world. In the computer world, it's like it's not the algorithm, but it's like the stream that the algorithm creates.
Mm.
Is the medium for the algorithm, the stream. That
Okay.
stream of consciousness, we may call it a stream of time here. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
time itself is just a figment of the mind. That's all time is.
Mm-hmm.
Time is something that we created to be points of reference. Remember when they had the sundial and that used to be the old clock?
Mm-hmm.
Right, because why? The sundial is a perfect symbolic
Well, time
symbolism.
is a circle.
It's a
Time is a circle.
it's a perfect symbolic symbol of this world, of these world colliding, these worlds coming together, the spirit world and the physical world,
Okay.
right? That
Mm-hmm.
alone brings these energy and culmination. This alone, this ritual itself, it that alone brings you from being just a physical, you know what I'm saying, being and thinking on that level to recognizing that you are a higher spiritual being,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in that process, you become a greater spiritual being. You recognize that I'm greater than. That's where the whole concept of the beyond gods come from, right? Because there is a level beyond God,
Yeah, in Marvel, his name is the one beyond all.
right? Right. They
Yeah.
they recently they recently start introducing that concept recently, bro. It's not nothing that it was in the old, but they rarely spoke on it. It was in the
Mm-hmm.
old one that they rarely spoke on it. You got to realize that Marvel ain't doing nothing but taking ancient mythologies and remarketing them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
all they're doing, man. They taking
it,
ancient mythologies and remarketing them and creating their own mythology through incorporating those old mythologies.
and they're kind of like telling you what's about to happen
No, yeah,
before it
right.
happens,
Listen,
as it's happening.
listen. The problem is everybody on this broadcast, and we don't got many because we like to those who are genuine coming through this and some type of spiritual journey they on.
Hmm.
Everybody on here should be creating their own mythology. If you ain't got your own mythology, you behind. You are behind. You have to have your own mythology, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mine is the beyond gods and the order out of chaos beings, right? Which
Hmm.
is based in how the universe was a singularity at once, right? Meaning chaos was there, order was there when chaos was existing. Order was there.
Well, there's a point where they both exist together.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. That was the singularity. Order was there when the chaos dominated the whole cosmos.
Hmm.
So it was order was there too. The potential. This is why I'm talking about the multi-potential reality. The potential of order was always there. So this is how these energies culminate, bro. They culminate and they cultivate in within humanity, right? When humanity recognizes who they actually are, the soul will actually wake up, and
Yeah, we can use these energies to get some shit done.
the end of this world.
Yeah.
We want to encourage that. We want that. We want the end of the world. Yes,
Yeah, because then that means there's going to be the beginning of a new world.
right. Mind you, the word world is geographical and a political word, right? So world
A
can
new
also mean just somebody's, like, for example, what we're under right now, the Western, the
reality.
colonizing European Western idea of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have abandoned our worldview, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother jurisdiction. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
we gotta go, brother.
Okay, man. All right.
Good talking, brother.
You
Good
too.
ritual. Get good back and forth, yin and
Yeah.
yang.
Yeah. I like it. All right. See you next week or whenever.
Peace is peace. Chaos.